laying it up. You keep it laying it up. Yeah.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Shane Davis.
And I am Brandon Fountain, and we are the Controlled Burn.
That's right.
Come on.
All right, guys. We're the first week of the new year. It's 2026. Dude, and I'll be honest, usually every year I've got trouble writing the new date. Not one time. I haven't messed it up one time. I've been 2026 all the way through.
Because we're only like 6 or 7 days in. It's going to hit in a couple weeks, and we're just going to be like, every time, we're just going to just 25. You may even throw a 24 in there.
I think 25 was just one of those forgettable, nothing great happened, nothing overly bad happened, but...
We're so excited to not be writing 25 anymore.
Right. We got another shot at it. We got a new year. New us.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, we got a lot to talk about.
Bro, so today has been... I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, dude, we were in the state capitol today. I know you had to go a few places. I traveled the state of Oklahoma after being at the state capitol for a few hours.
Where did you have to go after the capitol?
Man, I went to Okmulgee and I went to Hulbert, and which so I've got to drive through Muskogee, and it was and now we're in a studio shooting a podcast. So it's been a pretty cool day.
Is it just as a squirrel moment, but is it Haskell and Haskell County that aren't near each other? I feel like Haskell's just right over here, but Haskell County's way down by like Choctaw, Oklahoma.
I don't know. I think you're right.
I hate when they do that.
No, Haskell's where I got into my second only car accident. That was in Haskell up a icy hill. Food for thought for anybody. If you live on the top of a mountain or hill, it just exploded. A snowstorm comes through, ice storm, and you call for one of us to come see you. Do us a favor and just make sure that road's cool before you have us drive up it. It was funny, dude, because it sucked, but it was there was ice everywhere, and it's a dirt road, so ice will live on that dirt road a lot longer than it will on the actual road. And nobody's like icing these dirt roads, right? So this guy lives on top of this hill, but you have to drive around it like 3 or 4 times to get to the top of it, and he kind of owns the whole top of this thing. And so I'm driving, and I get about halfway up this hill before I realize your boy's on ice. and then I just stop going up, and I start going backwards, and I did pretty good. Like I
until you didn't.
Because the problem is I was fine until it was like a sharp curve to go around, and then as soon as you hit the brakes on ice, it just kicks you, and I just whoop until I hit a ditch and a tree. And I call him. I'm like, have you been down or up this hill? Since this big storm? He's like, not yet. I'm like, well, thank you.
There's nothing worse than being in a vehicle and you're driving in the icy conditions or whatever, and you're in a position, doesn't even always have to be up or down a hill. Sometimes it's flat, There's nothing worse than realizing you don't have control of the vehicle and it's just up to Jesus when it stops.
Oh,
that's the worst.
I'm a very I'm a defensive driver, and I'm in control the whole time. I compare it to if you've ever worked at a job site where there's a bunch of forklifts riding around. Every now and then I'll hear about somebody getting hit by a forklift. The way I drive, is the same way I live in that. I've worked in warehouses and shops. There's not a person that could try to run me over with a forklift. My radar is immediately on when that thing's within 10, 15 feet of me. If they made it their life's mission to hit me with a forklift, they're not gonna, because I'm too elusive. It's not gonna happen.
Interesting, man. I'm fat. You know what I mean? I'm a big guy.
I'm a fat.
Well, I almost said I'm a big guy, but I was like, you know what? Let me just keep it real. I'm fat. I don't think that I feel like you wouldn't hit me in a forklift. I'm just pretty.
I'm just aware.
I don't stand in forklift lanes. I feel like I'm pretty good. I worked also around a forklift, not for as long as you did, but
Well, you gotta when you're a defensive driver, you basically the concept, like to make it simple, is instead of assuming that everybody else out in the world is going to follow the rules, I assume they're not. I assume when I go through a green light, somebody's going to run that red light and kill me. Like every time. I'm always looking. It's like
unlike me.
The difference between millennials and what's the generation after us? Is it like Z?
Generation Z.
Z. Yeah. So
yeah.
Our generation, we don't like being like, we don't like people having to wait on us, right? Like it'll give you like a small little bit of an anxiety when you know you're holding someone else up. When we walk out of a Walmart, we walk directly across and we hurry. We look both ways. Sometimes if there's a car that's almost made it across, we'll just wave them on.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
Usually throw a thank you hand wave to the people that stop for us. Yeah.
The generation behind us, they will walk whatever the direction their vehicle is the direction they're walking. So if they make people wait for that whole diagonal walk until
their problem.
Bro, it's crazy. And a lot of times they don't even look to be like, are these people not going to kill me? They have blind faith that everybody's following the rules. I don't. I assume some,
I try to say we've talked about this.
I'm sure. Yeah.
We talked about this at Walmart. Just
I
as
we're
watching
Walmart.
somebody like, But you know what? In my head, I say, when I see this, every time I'm like, it's just because they're young. When they get older. But then I think back, I'm like, nah, I wasn't like that when I was young. Even rambunctious, young, dumb Brandon, right? I was still respectful, of
being in people's way.
It's
like I've told you about my son.
Yeah.
Oh, Goose Boy, which he actually just tried to call me. But he's the perfect example because he's a part of that generation. And when my dad asked me, like, for anything when I was a kid, like, go get this tool, go do this, go do that, most of the time I ran to go do it. Like, it was like, hurry up and get it done, or hurry up and get him that tool. My son, it's like he thinks...
a sense of urgency that's just not established in that generation.
It's crazy. Like,
it blows my mind.
It's like he feels like he's like on camera and he's trying to look cool.
All 24/7.
Dog, I'm like, hey, bud. Like, because the whole time I'll be looking at him and he won't make eye contact.
No, it's almost like he don't know, but he knows.
He knows. I've jumped his ass 100 times over. I'm like, hurry up. Like, why are you walking? Like, he can run fast. He's in pretty good shape. He wrestles. Like, you can't half-ass or slow play that.
Trains MMA.
Yeah, right. And
he knows.
But
he's
if
quick.
you ask him to go grab you a fork, it's going to take 30 minutes.
You'll starve to death before he gets back.
You might as well just get up and hit him with the fork and then go sit down. Like, it's mind-blowing. So before, we've got a lot to get into, but I'm so curious about something that was said before this podcast that I can't not fucking bring it up.
Uh-oh.
It's driving me crazy.
Oh, no.
So we have one of our amazing producers mentioned right before we started recording.
Pot roast?
Something about cooking something in a Home Depot bucket. I hate to put you on the spot. Not really, but I've got to know, what are you talking about?
Yeah. What are y'all cooking at your house?
How are you
in a Home Depot? They're plastic. I hope you're not putting a fire under it.
Is it like water hose on a hot day so the water's hot? Like
no.
Do you not have heat in gas? Like, why? What's the Home Depot? Like, do you put it under a fire?
Do you know what a sous vide is?
Yeah, of course.
It's that. But I
Precision
attach it to a Home Depot bucket because I don't have a metal pot that's big enough for the roast that you buy at Sam's.
So you do have your precision cooker sous vide hanging off the side of this bucket in the bucket, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
When is your birthday?
March 30th.
Gonna get her a big ass pot.
Get her a pot. You gonna upgrade?
So for the people at home listening,
the Berniacs,
the burnouts. Damn, you almost got me, bro.
The burn victims.
So at the lab, we get a good portion of our samples are given to us in syringes. Most of the distillate producers, most of distillate, live resin, several things,
or carts.
Yeah, sometimes carts. Like if they're testing the formulated vape oil before they're going in the hardware, like they'll give it to us in a syringe, right?
Right.
And it's tricky because you can't really put flame to it because you don't want to melt that plastic and leach whatever chemical into it, right?
When you're going to burn the potency off.
Right, also,
it's,
not to mention that, right?
Well, it's the same concept when we used to make street edibles, 10, 15 years ago. You couldn't put your oven over 160. Like if you went over, you had to slow cook all your edibles, or else you were gonna burn it off and make them essentially ineffective.
And even on any concentrate comes to us, a lot of our customers give it to us in a syringe. That is, you don't want to put it in a Ziploc, so you got to put it in something. Most people choose syringe, and I've learned that it's actually because they're taking it directly off the machine, so it's still pretty warm, and it's easy because they do it for us. Squirt it right out of there. We appreciate that. But here's the problem. When it's in plastic, you have very limited options on how to get it out of there. And if you know anything about disty, in a syringe or in anything, it's almost as hard as the plastic that it's in when it's room temp or cool,
Right.
So labs have to get creative, right? They have to, and every lab's got their methods. We had methods that we had before. The very best thing we've ever done is precision cooker. The reason that made me think about this.
You mean the water sous vide?
So in our lab, when you bring us distillate for the potency and a few of the test types, what we do is we take your order of those syringes and we put it into a bag that's sealed tight, airtight, and then it goes into a precision cooker, and we have spots like little racks in there that we can hang the order number and stuff.
Prison cooking.
Yeah, the chain of custody. It's really cool. You should go check out their setup. They literally made a system to where their chain of custody can literally follow even into the damn bath. It's super cool.
Well, that because I've told you this before with Keef Cola, because we were using heat guns.
Yeah.
To get that, we had the hot plates with the bean,
and then
we would heat gun to try to get it viscous enough to start the emulsification process, right? So, but our potencies were never matching. They were never where they were supposed to be, and so then we got hip to the sous vide, in which it does take a lot longer. Like a liter of distillate in a jar. I mean, I would turn that water sous vide on around 5 o'clock in the morning. And so when my guys got in by 8, it was ready to rock. And the cool thing about it is you can never burn it. It's only going to get to that safe temperature that you set it at, and you're never going to burn nothing off because you keep it under that point. But it's literally how all of our inmates across all the jails and prisons cook their
and they're making spreads, baby.
Yeah.
So that's what got me talking about this was that in the lab we actually, so Innovo I think is the actual brand, because that's the brand of precision cooker, sous vide, whatever you want to call it, that I have. It's funny, it's called a precision cooker. The style of cooking is called sous vide, FYI. SOUSVIDE. Yeah, the first time someone told me, I tried to Google it. I was like, not finding anything. Yeah, I was way off.
My brain's
I actually had to
FFE.
I think I had to tell my GPT what I was looking for, and they gave me the spelling. Anywho, so we have a precision cooker in the lab, and that is the most effective way to get distillate out of syringes, because they can set that water temperature to 90 degrees, 100 degrees, whatever it is. And then it goes into a bag with the other syringes in the order, the ones that aren't being pulled for micro, whatever they pull, first. Then they put everything else in there. It goes into this slot in this precision cooker. But Innovo, the brand, actually has this clear plastic tank that's made specifically for their precision cooker. The precision cooker goes on the end. It has the big old clear tank. And it even has this clear rubber edged lid that sits on top. And I seen it for the first time in the lab, and I can't stop thinking, dude, I need me one of those for my sous vide setup at home, because I use one of the, a big ass bean pot, the biggest pot you can get. That's what I use when I do.
Well, because it's got to be pretty deep.
Yeah, exactly.
Those things are long as shit. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of if they had it like they do crock pots, where you have the crock pot liner for something like that, you could make your whole. So Zoe, are you putting like you're putting your pot roast like in a bag and then filling the thing up with water and doing it that way, or are you just like freebasing it?
No,
Like,
you can't put it straight into the water.
It goes in a vacuum sealed
Yeah.
bag.
If you put that meat right in the water, that cooker will get so nasty.
well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, I'm curious because the Home Depot bucket.
I didn't do it, thank God, but I would have. because my brain wasn't thinking, and I knew that the procedure was always to go in the bag. But I was like, but what if it's something that it doesn't matter if it's in the? It started with eggs. I was like, I wonder if you could egg these, right?
Oh, you like hard boiled?
Well, I didn't do it, but in my brain, I was like, I want to try eggs in this. Just an extra long egg cook. Wonder if I could, because ramen. You ever had ramen? Like, and the Japanese places do the soft boiled egg.
Oh, of course.
So they get to that right temperature so their yolk is still runny. In my brain, I was like, oh my God, I can make the perfect soft-boiled egg. I can't mess it up. I Google what the soft-boiled egg temperature is, set the cooker to that, drop the eggs in. They won't overcook. That was where my brain went originally. I Googled about the whole, like, why you need the bag thing, and I was like, oh, duh. Yeah, bro, you think about it. If you were to put anything in the water itself, that precision cooker is like a vacuum. It sucks it in and circulates it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can Google like all the people that weren't smart enough to know it goes in the bag
ruined
first.
it?
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's trashed.
No, I for sure watched people use it because I remember I bought them based on a suggestion, but then I watched I was like, that makes more sense. Yeah. Okay.
Do you guys sous vide?
No.
You got to get, dude.
I don't have time for that shit. Are you kidding me?
Here's the thing. It's not, I'll tell you right now, it's not an everyday cooker. I tell you that right now because if you, so my favorite obviously is steak. You can do it with everything, but the reason it's so great with steak, hear me out, is because of this, right? So you go to a steak place, if you get a thick steak, right? If you get a big steak, no matter what you have it cooked at, unless you're going to a fancy place that I assure you they sous vide it. But if you go and you want like a thick steak, right, and you want it rare, you're not going to get rare on the whole thing. You're going to get the seared outside, then you're going to get a little bit of gray, then a little bit of like medium, and then the middle is going to be rare. And how rare it is, obviously. So think of it like this. If you have a precision cooker, you know how you want your steak, right? So let's say you want it rare. You set your water temperature at 115, okay? You put it in the bag, and then you leave it in the precision cooker. You can put it in there for the least amount of time it takes. So let's say it takes 4 hours to get there. But if you left it there for 9 days, no matter when you took it out, it would be the perfect temperature.
So hold on, let me get this. So with a steak, because you're blowing my mind right now. So when I cook a steak, my shit's rare, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times, which I'm gonna catch some hate for this probably, but I use a cast iron.
Yeah. I love the cast iron sear.
Yeah, I love it. Well,
it's just the messiest.
It's the messiest. It's smoky, but I like the crispy. Outside
Best.
and then that pink middle. So if you have it in a sous vide at a certain temperature, if it's gonna brown the outside of it, if you leave it in there for a period of time, won't that eventually make it to browning the inside?
Negative. So when you look at the temperature of what you want your steak, right? Mm-hmm. And you want rare, and it's like 115, whatever it is, okay?
Right.
That is the perfect temperature for
To get to that point.
Right. So that steak on the inside is only going to get to that. So what you do is you set it for maybe a few degrees under. Then you go get your grill or your cast iron as hot as you can get it. When it's done, you take it out, done. Nothing else. You rest it for a few minutes, whatever. But when you cut into that steak, instead of the layers and the thin strip of rare in the middle, you get a steak that is fully rare except for the outside crust that you just seared.
Can you put frozen shit in there?
Yeah, it just takes longer. Yeah, it just takes longer. No, it's
I'm gonna have to stop by Home Depot.
It's phenomenal. Like when you go to these a lot of these really, really upscale, like fancy steakhouses, a lot of them are sous vide. Especially when you get like the really big steaks and you're like, man, how the hell? Because you've ever tried to cook a crazy, like thick steak? It's tough to get like what you're wanting and it be good. Like it's just hard because you got to cook it for X amount of time on the, grill. And then, it's obviously got to cook from the outside in, and you're not getting the optimal piece of meat at the temperature you want. But if you use the precision cooker, it's perfect.
There's some dudes listening to
the
this right
best.
now that are just shitting on us.
Just shut up.
Yeah, if you're a salt and pepper and a little bit of butter guy, I don't need to hear it. I'm good. Daddy Hinckley, baby.
That's awesome.
No, you reminded me that years ago when Freddy's was still alive and kicking. I think it was the one in Manford, but we went there to eat some steaks, and we both wanted rare, and you got yours, and it was still frozen in the middle.
Blue rare. I ordered it. Remember, I ordered it. I was like, "What's blue rare?" And they were like, "Oh," and they put me on game on what blue rare was.
That means it's cold.
It's
right.
This dude.
I mean, here's the thing.
We ordered. Remember, it was thick.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you got.
You took it home to your stepdad, and he literally just cooked it like it was a raw steak and ate it.
He cooks everything. Yeah. Like, I didn't know there was such thing as rare, medium rare until I could buy my own steak. And somebody put me on it because I was like, I don't really like steak. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah, man, I'm good on it. Chewy and shit.
What?
And then I found filet in New York strip, rare and dog.
I'm a medium rare guy. I don't really like. I can eat it rare. It's not the most enjoyable for me. Medium rare, never past medium, is where I eat it.
How do you eat your eggs? I know this is riveting, but
so I'm not the biggest sunny side up fan. I don't like. My thing is
it's the funnest one to say, but it's the 100%. Grossest fucking egg you're gonna get,
bro. My yolk can be as runny as it can possibly be. I mean, even if it's just barely warm, it's fine. If that white is runny, it makes my stomach turn.
It's boogery.
It's exactly.
No, it's my kids, because I make over medium is like the perfect egg.
That's me.
And I want cooked egg, runny yolk. And my kids, and I did the same shit. Like, go out to like IHOP or Denny's or whatever, and it's like, I want sunny side up, and
because they like to order it that way.
No, you don't. Yeah. They want it cooked, but with runny yolk, and they're like, over medium, done. Yeah, sunny side up means it's boogery. And
just tell them to order it. Hey, can I get my eggs sunny side up, but the white's a little extra done?
Right. Yeah. You can still have fun.
So over medium. Yeah.
It's which, by the way, bro, Denny's. So the only one that I can think of is the one over by Flying J, that big truck stop.
Yeah.
And
I think it's the only one around in Tulsa.
I'm pretty sure. And they used to have one in Pryor that was like an old school one, and it's not a Denny's anymore either. But I took for the last 2 years in a row, on my son's birthday, he likes going to Denny's. And we went 2 years ago, and he got to witness like his first hooker. And there was no hiding it because she was very like open about being a hooker, and right next to us. And I was like,
oh, wow.
Like, boy. And so come to find out, that Flying J is the only truck stop in the Tulsa or Tulsa surrounding area with 24/7 showers. So it is the truck stop if you're flying.
If you're a sexual deviant.
Bro, it is crazy. We went a couple months ago again, and I'm like, okay, buddy. I'm like, next year we're going to have to do something different, because we waited like an hour. It was the worst food ever. Saw a bunch of shit that, he shouldn't see.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know what, dude? We could do better than this. Like, Waffle House would have been an upgrade.
Real quick, just, and then, we can be done. What is your absolute favorite chain breakfast place? I know I'm saying chain specifically because, you might throw the Silver Skillet over there. It's great, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, like, where you can go to most parts of the country and get, this restaurant. What's your favorite chain?
Waffle House.
Dude, me too. And people dog it. They say it's only for drunk food. I think it's great, totally sober. Granted, I may have fell in love with it when I was drinking, but I love it sober.
No, you eat Bert's famous chili when you're hammered. You know what I mean? You might get a waffle, but you're gonna get some of that Bert's chili.
You get them hash browns all the way.
You get bold. Smothered, covered, whatever.
Smothered, covered, diced, chunk, topped.
Waffle House, because I probably would have said Denny's. Just the last two Denny's times I've had have been awful. But Waffle House it's like the McDonald's of that world. Like it's always it's just what it is. Like
It's not. It's never going to be the best in the world.
No.
But it's consistent, except for the one in Tulsa, apparently.
well, and the waffles are, I mean, they're great. Like, have you ever been to Huddle House?
No, but it's the same thing, isn't it? Effectively.
So it's the same thing as Waffle House, except instead of waffles, it's pancakes. Like it's essentially the same thing. Yeah.
I always thought it was like Hardee's is to Carl's Jr. as Huddle House is to Waffle House.
No, it's a different thing.
Okay.
But
I assumed it was just like related to a big divorce or something, and the husband got half and the wife got half, and they had to rename them.
I wouldn't be shocked because usually they're like pretty identical as far as how the setup is or how the building looks.
I bet it's just I bet the country has been polled, and people in this region like pancakes better than waffles, and this region they like the other, and that's what they went with.
Every other state I've been in has had a Huddle House. Oklahoma, for as much food as we have, I'm shocked we don't have Huddle House.
I think it's called Eckert's. I know that's a restaurant. I just don't know if it's the right one. But there's a place.
Egbert's?
No, up in Missouri. So when I was doing road sales, we did that sale in right there in
Joplin.
Nah, it's right by East St. Louis. It's called I've talked about this sale a bunch. Anyway, it's in Illinois. Or Missouri.
Kansas City.
No. Anyway, anyways, I'm getting off track. But I think it's called Eckert's or Eckhart's. Anyway, dude, they have a breakfast buffet every day. It's not a buffet. It's like all you can eat breakfast. But like you order your food and then what you run out of, you just tell them and they just bring it back to you. Dog, it was so good to this day. So weird because I underutilize Instagram big time. But
right.
If you go look at my Instagram, you can see 2 to 5 pictures from every period of my life, but never more. Like every period of my life, I've tried. Like, how do you use Instagram a little bit more? And I'll do 3 or 4 pictures, and then I don't touch it for 5 years.
I don't know how to use it.
It's not my favorite. Like I'll scroll it, but I'm just not a poster.
No,
not on there.
We're officially like the old people.
Yeah.
Like Facebook is like for
I want to bring the top 8 back, dog. I want there to be a competition on who's going to be in my top 8.
No, I've heard Instagram's dying. Facebook's for old people. I'm like, so what are y'all?
Where's Twitter sitting right about now? Because I've always hated Twitter. I always hated Twitter forever. And since it's become X, that's the most I've ever been on it. And it's wild right now. Like it's chaos. It's a free for all.
It's chaos.
Like, man, they weren't lying. They got rid of the censorship for real. You can go there and watch, a man from a different world side of the world that may or may not wear religious headwear beheading somebody, or you can see, what you could see on schmornschmub.com. Or you could just see, a family posting their picture for the holidays.
It's a whole spectrum. But most of like quoted people, usually like if I'm reading like an article or something, it's always from X. Like so-and-so said something.
So I feel like X
from
is doing pretty good.
It's got to be which I don't think there's that many more. I guess Snapchat's killing the game.
It's almost like when you don't censor people, they tend to cling to it. It's like people want to go and be where they're not controlled.
Well,
amazing theory.
When you have outrageous shit too, people try to outrageous people, and it's fun. It can be fun. But
right, let's get into
enough
this.
about breakfast and bullshit. So
yes.
Home Depot buckets. So today, this morning, at the state capitol, there was the, I don't know how many years in a row they've done it, but it was the OMMA public comment hearing. So they do this, I believe, once a year. You can sign up to actually, speak. They live stream it as it's going on, and then typically they'll answer just about all of the questions. They'll do
every single one will get answered. If a duplicate gets asked, they'll just refer you to the question where they answered it.
Gotcha. Which is pretty cool. Like, I remember it was either last year or the year before we did it, and it was embarrassing. Like, I remember being, like, embarrassed because a lot of people. I mean, there was almost no sitting room. There was a ton of people in there standing. A lot of people used it as an opportunity to like use sound bites for their social media. Like they tried to make like gotcha moments. And you know, a lot of people don't publicly speak or you know, talk too much on a microphone. So a lot of it's awkward and just timed weird. There was a guy that had a weird shout during his, like
I came back and told people about that.
It was
That
wild, bro. Somebody else said they were tired, and then he just, in the middle of what he was saying, I'm tired, and it was uncomfortable. But this one, I would say there was about a third of the people there last year, and even less from the year before, which it made me nervous when I walked in. I was like, oh wow, there's I can sit. But I would say this was the best one I've ever been to.
Yes,
like
100%. There was less crazy than ever.
There was only like
Couple.
maybe, and I wouldn't even like the yell was crazy. But
Really?
beyond that, there was like 3 people that kind of had, you know, not a
Pointless-
lot to
yeah,
say.
yeah.
But beyond that, everybody had something good. Like it was cool for laboratories, especially because there was 3 labs there that did get up and speak. And then there was a few other people that you know raised concerns about the stuff that we're concerned about. So I'm pretty stoked to actually get to look at that list and see how they respond to a lot of it. What do you think of the overall turn?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And it's funny is as you were saying that, I remembered before this started, I kept telling myself to actually get a list of the proposed rules sent, like downloaded.
Right.
I didn't do it, so thankfully Matthew just sent it to me, so I have that. If you want me to, I'll forward it to you so you have it. But yeah, no, I thought it was great, dude.
John Kumbas kind of let me down.
I know.
Like he was, you know, kind of like a big deal. He was like, all right, you know, I had some stuff prepared, but I tossed it out, and I was like, oh, fudge,
so I
here we
seen
go.
him yesterday when I went and I did a pickup for him. And you remember he just got back from Mexico. He's been gone for like 2 weeks or whatever. Well, there, I seen him, and dude, he just looked exhausted. And I was like, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm just tired, man. Well, then today, I seen him, and he just looks exhausted. And I'm like, dude. And he goes, I know, I'm just tired. And I'm like, bruh, how long did you sleep last night? And he's like, from like 8 to 5:30. And I'm like, that's a full night's sleep. What's wrong? That vacation just whipped his ass is what happened. He's just exhausted.
We need to get him an IV.
Dude, he needs an IV.
This shit's a game changer.
Well, dude, he burns his damn candle at both ends anyway. I'm not saying like partying late, but like he's always running and going. He works, like he owns the company, but he also works a lot in the company. Now, I'm sure his kitchen staff are hearing this like, no, I'm just kidding.
No, he's on the road just about every day,
dude,
going and
he
seeing
does
people.
his own sales. He does pop-ups. He's a busy guy. Plus, you know, he's always got stuff shaking and moving. They're building a new facility. By the way, doggy.
Did you see it?
No, not yet. But you need to go and look at his Facebook, and you can see if the few times he's been out there. And I think there was something. He may have just showed me, but I think they post them on Facebook, like the plans and like the pad, because they've got the pad poured and like the walls up and stuff. Dude, it's a very, very nice kitchen. Like, I would say multi-million-dollar kitchen probably.
Where it's still in the city, I'm assuming?
It's not. It's like in one of the little suburbs. It's like Mustang or something like that. Yukon, one of those places. Dude, it's a game changer. Which, if you know anything about JKJ, they've got a ton of products. A lot. Like, they're very, very, very custom friendly. Like, if you want some white label stuff done, or even if you're a dispensary that wants your own stuff, you know, which is also white label, but you know what I mean? They're really, really receptive and okay with doing a brand new product for you. And it's even pretty small, you know, minimum batches that they'll, you know, minimum requirements that they'll do. Very, very, like, I'm 100% honest with you, I wouldn't do it. Too much work. People aren't appreciative. No way I would do it. He is, and I'm not just trying to make this a let's brag on John session, but he really is
Come
one
on,
of the
bro. We need
few
more haters.
Yeah, he really is one of the few people that will get on Facebook and talk shit about being here for the people and, you know, like wanting to be, you know, like boots on the ground involved with you that actually lives it.
Right,
Like,
right.
I've been to a meeting where I heard him pitching his services, and yeah, I was listening to it. And I was like, yeah, dude, he'll make a new product, and he doesn't require you order that dadgum much. Like, he, you know, obviously there's a little bit of a minimum, but he's willing to do shit, dude. And there's just not a lot of people willing to do that, and that makes a difference for the smaller company. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a smaller dispensary and you know, for whatever reason want to try that, or even if you're a smaller processing company and you don't do edibles at all and you want to launch a line and you need somebody like John to white label your edibles for you, that's really nice to know that there is somebody in the industry that's willing to help out a smaller company and not just make you order, you know, 100,000 pieces in order to get an order in. So I props to him for that. But I said all that to say, if you know that about him, he needs a big ass kitchen because they're in a pretty small area.
Yeah.
And if you've been in there,
Yeah.
it's very meticulously stacked and coordinated and like organized, because if it weren't, there's no way they'd find anything in there.
Well, and I mean, to make happen what he does, you've got to have some bodies. And
Yeah.
I bet they're gonna appreciate it.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that's when you go there, they are all like, you mention something about the new spot and you can see like them like look up and start dreaming about the like how cool it's gonna be when they get their bigger spot. Yeah, people are gonna have offices, and yeah, because right now there's only room for, you know, 3 or 4 offices up there. I'm sure there's several other people that could use an office to work out of. So yeah, they're stoked about it. But yeah, man, I got the draft for the rules. I was immediately disappointed in myself when I went there today.
because you didn't.
Because there were
Brush up.
several things on these particular set of proposed rules that slipped past old Brandon here.
Well, and so because there was a couple things I tried to write everybody's name, company, in like a brief, like kind of what they went over. One thing that it was right after John, our guy Cole.
Got it for you, bud.
He went up there and he was talking about distillate testing, right? So which I wasn't super aware of what he meant, but we switched to final form testing a while back, and he mentioned having to test distillate 3 times.
Yeah. So for the confirmations, right, before we went to final package, everything had to be tested.
Right.
So on distillate and flour were the only 2 things that had requirements set on them, I believe. If you had distillate that tested above 90, it had to be internally. Now, this was the original set of rules. Obviously, because OMMA don't have their QA lab, they set these rules and then immediately had to sway from them.
Right.
And then it became like you had to get approval after a certain point to then it became pretty standard that, you just knew what to do if it hit this number. But basically, if it was 0 to 89.9, I think, I don't really know what the actual requirement. Don't get your advice from me, okay? I'm shooting from the hip here.
We don't do compliance.
But I believe it was right under 90. I think at 90, you had to do another internal confirmation on that distillate. So if you hit 90, you had to run it again yourself to verify that it was 90. If it hit, I believe, 92.5 or 93, then you have to stop, reach out to OMMA. They would, at that point, have their confirmation, their QA lab confirm it. But what it turned into was they were going to put a plan into action where they had a lottery system and they told you which lab that you had to send a sample of it to have another lab confirm.
Lord.
To what it turned into was, yeah, let us know when that happens and then we'll let you rerun it again and you send the info to us to, I don't even know.
Well,
just watched it like, but yeah, point of that is confirmation testing on distillate. Well, now distillate is not required to be tested at all unless you're putting it in a dispensary,
right,
in a syringe, right? But yet they still require, because it's still in the rules, They still require a confirmation testing. So if we test distillate, which there are several processors that still do test their distillate, right, in a full compliance manner. If it hits 90, which we have a few of the largest distillate producers in the state, they do hit 90.
Yeah. No, that's
now,
the game.
I don't think we have anybody that has, or maybe even if they have, we don't have anybody that consistently hits 92.5 or 93.
Right.
But they do consistently hit 90, several of them. That's the goal, right? That's what they're shooting for. So, yeah, it is. As soon as that happens, we have to immediately, okay, let's prep another test and confirm that number internally. That sucks. There's no need for it. They don't even have to test it.
Well, and
you know what I mean? So that's what he's pushing for.
Brought up like the discrepancy in labs. And that's the worry on some lottery thing. Until they do address that, there's a huge discrepancy, like across the board. Like where there's places that, you know, we trust more than others that typically, you know, will be in the same ballpark. There's places that are, I mean, way different.
I think the biggest thing with some of these other labs is, and I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to say it because I don't care. Matthew ain't here. He ain't here to top me. Consistency, bro. I've learned quickly there's value in your laboratory if they can consistently give you results. And there's not a lot of that right now.
No.
We're blessed, dude. We really are. Now, there are some labs, I think Baseline does a great job. I think they are consistent. I think that anytime we've ever had to work with them or they've had to work with us, they're pleasant to work with. We have good conversation with them, and I truly believe they're trying to do things right. There are other labs that are like that too. There are labs that I get to see the results on because we have a customer that tests something there or whatever, and I hear them complain about the consistency of potency, microbial, and terpenes, several tests.
Turnaround time?
Turnaround time is probably the biggest inconsistency I hear.
No, I got, which, you know, I will also not name names, but I had, which, you know that this is like a trigger for us, but they hit me with, they were trying to get pricing on the itemized tests, and then they hit me with one of our competitors' price for that same thing. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Well, you know, but this is what we offer. We do have that legally defensible data. We have quality, we have consistency, and we have a pretty standard competitive lead time. The one that you did mention, I know they don't check most of those boxes. So for sure, I mean, if cheap is what you need, I'm never going to be your cheapest option. That's not my game.
Although
we're fair,
we're pretty.
No, we're competitive.
We're pretty close,
and that number was close enough to where if you're willing to save a couple dollars, but not have any of those above listed protections, you're probably not going to be around much longer.
I don't think there is a lab that will beat our price for a full compliance test by more than $15.
And it's all dependent on who you are,
right? Sure. I don't know of anybody that will consistently, or that has a customer that I can think of that's less than. I know there is a lab that their bottom, I have heard, I haven't seen and confirmed, but I've heard is exactly $15 under what our lowest price is for some of our bigger customers, some of our oldest customers. It's not just about the size of your facility.
No, it's everything.
We take it all into consideration. I've got people that do 20 tests a month that have our lowest price point because they've been with us forever and they're easy to work with.
Well, at the end of the day, because you know me, I'll take anybody's business.
Yeah.
But if it's going to take us a whole workday to get there and get back, and it's, you know, the sample cost isn't covering the trip, then I mean we got to talk. I mean we do.
Or if we have to get there and then we have to help you for 3 hours make the transfer or finish the transfer. I'm not saying that we're not willing to do that, okay? I'm just saying,
well,
you may not fall into favorite.
No, I had one that I had to tell you offline. It was right before we walked in here, and I was like, man, people are wild, bro. Like what they asked me to, I was like, yeah, man, I can't do that. I can't. Which I mean, here's the thing. I know in the future, like I know people have mentioned wanting, either the state or the actual testing labs to come pull samples, but we're not there yet.
No,
you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's not. And it was like, yeah, we're real busy. I'm like, we're
So
pretty
are we,
busy,
brother. Yeah.
pretty busy too, man.
Well, that looks different. That is a whole different process, and I promise you.
Well, and you're taking like a liability. Doing
Yeah.
something like that, and it's just not something that is worth
Not
it
to mention
me.
the labor. Like when we get to, I don't know of anybody that wants that. Everybody I know of is very happy when the state of Oklahoma starts offering the labs doing the sampling. They start requiring labs to do the sampling.
I don't know about everybody, but
Well,
the
most
good
people,
ones.
most people that I deal with, yeah,
the good ones.
Most people
yeah.
that I deal with are very happy for that day because they know as they are going to be held accountable and get a truly blind test, their competitors are going to as well.
Right.
I promise you, and I've had this talk with them. A couple specifically I'm thinking of, top of my head, I'm sure you probably know who I'm thinking of. I've had this talk with them, and have told them, that price looks different if we have to do the samples.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
It has to.
We expect it.
Well,
Because they know their competitors are going to pay that same price, right?
Well, and the reason for that, it has nothing to do with being greedy.
No,
or
not
money.
at all.
Right now, if we can, between me, you, or the transport company we use, we can bring in a lot of different customer samples in a day. If or when we switch to that, you're going to have to allot a minimum of a couple hours of time at each location.
Yep.
So the amount of volume that we're actually going to be able to get in is going to be, it's going to be cut way down.
It's the lab at that point will be bottlenecked, not by how many customers the salespeople can sell, but by how many transporter or samplers we are able to hire.
No, we watched a video.
I was just about to tell these people the video.
Yeah.
If you are curious what we're talking about or what this looks like, go to the the YouTubes, type in Encore Labs sampling process. ENCORE Labs. Maybe type in Encore Labs California. I think just Encore Labs will find it. Encore Labs sampling procedure or sampling video. You'll see this lab. They're very, very, they're a top tier lab. They look to be anyway.
Squared away.
I don't know anything about the quality of their testing. This is not an advertisement for them. But I'm telling you, if you look at them visually, they look squared away. Their company is clean. Their lab is badass. Their samplers dressed, very uniform, professional. Even held the quality of the video production is very good video. That's what sampling is going to look like. It's not going to look like Brandon and Shane roll in. Yo, what up? Where's your samples at? All right, let me grab these. Yeah, hell yeah, sign here.
Y'all got any gloves?
It's a process. And in California, and I don't know if this is, I believe it's a state policy, but don't quote me on this because it may just be that lab or that company. I'm pretty sure the state of California requires it. But when they pull their sample, they do everything. Like you point at which section is this product, they go over, they inspect how many items are there, and they confirm it should be what says on the paper, right? Then they put how many samples they're supposed to pull. They know the rules. The sampler knows the rules. They know, okay, for a batch size of 2,600, I have to take 7 units, right? They fill out all that paperwork, which that's a 10, 15-minute process probably from filling out the paperwork, actually grabbing the sample. Then they have a whiteboard at the facility for the lab employee that the lab employee then writes what batch number, what time, and how many samples he pulled. He writes it on a whiteboard. He has to walk over to a camera and hold the board up and show the camera. Because I think, don't quote me on this, but I think California is one of the states that the oversight entity requires access to your camera system.
Oh, gotcha.
And Missouri is one. I know Missouri, it is a requirement that they have 24/7 access to your cameras of your facility.
Well,
Like,
in this
they
whole
must, or at least
process,
certain parts of your facility.
from beginning to end of this, you're on camera the entire time, but you still have to. I feel like there was a couple different steps where they had to like face the camera. It's a whole to do.
Oh yeah,
is what it is. Like it's
me and you are pretty like. I'm not gonna say we're definitely not like scientist smart, but like we're real world common sense smart. Like there's not a lot of situations that me and you can be thrown into. That's why Matthew just loves us so much.
we're problem solvers.
We're problem solvers,
That's what
bro.
we do.
If you put me in a room, okay, and there's enough context clues there for me to figure it out one way or the other, I'm gonna figure it out because we got common sense, bro. We just do. This is something that if me and you went into, we would have to spend a couple days training just for straight up for the procedures.
Right.
Of what has to be done to
Right.
not get somebody in trouble. I mean, it's a procedure.
It's a whole. I mean, there's going to be to the T SOPs that have to be followed from us, from y'all. It's a lot, man. But there's almost not a more fair way to do it.
There's not,
and that's where if we can get. Because at the public hearing today, I mean, at least 4 different times. Lab result discrepancies were mentioned and highlighted.
They're right.
They are.
They're right.
And if we can figure out that issue, and then we get to a point where there's no doctored or adulterated samples happening, now we're talking about a level playing field.
You know what's crazy is this industry. Someone a couple times, 2 different people, I believe, mentioned self-policing, like, the industry self-policing. Here's the problem. We tried to self-police, right? We, and it's great, don't get me wrong, but we, with the help of the PCA, or not with the help of, but using the PCA and OCIA, which are industry associations, as a starting point / tool to gather people, we invited several labs to this, industry association. Several of them joined, and all of those labs that are in the PCA, they share information. If you're a lab and you want to join the PCA, there is a vetting process. We want to know that you're not a scumbag. Right?
Right.
We want to know you're not a scumbag. We want to know you're not a cheating piece of shit that's going to come in, get access to the businesses that we spend days rubbing shoulders with, and capture that business from us because you do things that are unfair. Telling you, we've done it. And for the most part, we've gotten a whole lot of labs that are there and a part of it, and that has absolutely helped, not solved, helped make sure that people are trying to be on the same page. Now, there's still complications, right? There's still just flat ass, like, the state doesn't have X amount of requirements. So even if you're, blah, 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 there's all kinds of things that can cause that discrepancy. But let me just tell you, there are still labs that they don't want to join because they don't want to share their information. And, sometimes these particular labs scream and cry and say they want transparency. I don't know.
You just made my eye
They
twitch.
really don't. They really don't. Anyways, sorry. Let me not go.
So
let me not go ham here, bud.
another, and this one I'd say was mentioned the most.
Major eye twitch.
Yeah, I mean it went wild. But the new change to the examiners. So when you are, in violation, or right now there's a like a third party, judge that's going to decide who's in the right or who's in the wrong.
Administrative
with
court procedures.
Thank you.
Proceedings.
So I know a part of the proposed new rules, it's going to be getting away from that judge and having like a OMMA team of employees to make those decisions now. So essentially, somebody said it great at the public hearing today. We cannot allow you guys to be, the judge, jury, and executioner. Mm-hmm. And there was even Stephanie Davis. She used to work on OMMA's legal.
She's great.
Oh, she's great. Well, and she highlighted it the best way, I think. A lot of people brought it up, but she's like, guys, I've got firsthand experience on this side. And she didn't even come at it from like trying to attack anybody or say anybody's intentionally doing anything wrong, but just from the common sense angle of OBN, they have it currently this way. And it was something insane, like a 99 or even like 100% judgment rate in favor of OBN, which is, I mean, is bananas, right? Like at the end of the day, if you are an employee of OMMA and your decision is either going to cost them money or cost us money, and you feel like, you know, sticking around for a while, it's almost like a head coach in football. In the NFL, it's the most volatile position you can be in the NFL as a head coach of an NFL team. You make one just, you know, mistake, you have a less than good season, they're looking for a new coach.
Yep.
And you'd be crazy to think your pass fail rate or OMMA license holder win rate, if that's out of pocket, you're probably not going to be around. And this is something that it seems crazy that it's even like they're going for it.
No,
it's smart.
It sounds perfectly. If you're OMMA, here's the thing. So what you're talking about is the administrative law judges. That's what they use now, right?
Yeah.
So if you get any type of violation or whatever, and you have to go through OMMA's court process, right? You're not going to an actual like courthouse where you're seeing a judge and OMMA's suing you. It's not quite like that. The court is it's called an administrative court, right?
Right.
And the judge that you see is an administrative law judge, and what that is a truly biased person, truly unbiased party. It is
the new one's biased.
OMMA has to read. OMMA gets these judges are contracted from the Attorney General's office, right?
Gotcha.
They work for the Attorney General's office. They are truly unbiased, right? And in my opinion, OMMA, I'm not going to say this, but it seems real convenient that this would be a proposed rule because we know that OMMA they've had their butts whipped a time or two in court.
They lose a lot.
They lose a lot, bro.
They
really do. Now they get some wins, but let me just tell you, if they get a win, you's fucking up.
Right.
You was messing up, brother. Because yes, they can accuse you of anything, right? But actually getting to the court, they have to be able to prove it. And there has been certain attorneys and there has been certain even customers that have done a great job of defending themselves. Now, is it because, they hired the right attorney, or is it because they, weren't quite as bad of an actor as OMMA was portraying? Dunno. But they've lost in court a time or two. Well, what they're wanting to replace that with is called a hearing administrator. That would be a third-party contractor, but it would be a third-party contractor that no, sorry, it wouldn't be a third-party contractor.
Well, I was going to say.
It would be an employee that OMMA would hire, and you would report to OMMA every day. Your paycheck would be from OMMA. You would report to Adria Berry or Barrett Brown probably, who's over that, team. And think about how that would go for you if now OMMA's hearing administrator was your judge and you were being brought up against charges against that judge's boss. Right. Get out of here, bro.
It's crazy.
Get out of here.
But
other states have done it, and there's like 100% win rate for that for that oversight.
Well, and
body.
we don't even have to look outside of the state because we are watching OBN do it. Like OBN, that's exactly how they're set up, and the numbers don't lie. And let's say they switch over to this, right? You're going to immediately see that win percentage switch over to the other side.
Yeah, bud. Big time.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know what that win percentage is right now. Sorry to cut you off again, but I don't know what that win percentage is right now.
I just know of a lot of people who have not lost.
Exactly. But I promise you, it gets better for them. They win a whole lot more if this happens.
Is this something that this isn't like something that can be voted on, is it?
So how this works is if so they have, damn boy, I about took that out of here. I think that Red Bull caused me to have a stroke right there.
Give you wings?
I can fly, I believe. Anyway, so no, OMMA proposes the rule. Okay, whatever. I don't know who or what on their process. They write up these proposed rules. Okay, then they have to get public comment on it. They have to get feedback from the public, from the industry. Okay, that process has been happening since they released these proposed rules to today at 5:00, which is why they had that public comment. It's kind of like the last, okay, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Right.
So then from now, they take it back. They prepare a report basically of what they're proposing versus what comments that they have gotten from the industry. And then it has to go, I believe it's to the House or to the Senate. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. But some lawmaker that they vote on it and say, okay, you can do it or no, you can't. It's the same. This process is what got the 66 pesticide thing. You remember that?
Yeah.
So it got kiboshed this way. It almost got their feedback on it. They sent it over, and the lawmakers are like, nah, we ain't doing that. So that's why it's so very important to read these, and somehow or another, you don't have to go to OMMA to go online and type your comment. That's a factor. It very much plays a part of it. It's very much taken into consideration by people that aren't OMMA, as it is the way I understand it to work. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. But if I'm wrong, it's not by too much. I'm sniffing the right territory at least. No, that's roughly how it works.
That makes more sense, and it's. I mean, that's kind of cool that they do have to go through a different situation that has to see both sides of the argument, almost like what do you call it, an administrative judge?
A hearing administrator.
It's because it would be if they could just pass shit like this.
Oh, bud, we'd already be cooked more than we are now.
So that was a big topic. Total yeast and mold, which I'm gonna just lightly brush on this because it's not a fucking problem.
I knew it was coming.
But no, only one person mentioned aspergillus, and they didn't even do it. One of these days, bro, fire me. I'm gonna show up at the next one. I'm screaming it. Carry molds, man. But no, on total yeast and mold, the big thing was increasing the CFU limit. A lot of the other states have it at 100,000 CFUs. Mm-hmm. And I explain to my clients all the time, I'm like, 10,000 sounds like a huge number.
It's not that big.
You can't see it at 10,000. 100,000, you still can't see.
Probably not, no.
It's one of those things. It's more. I've heard people mentioning a potential like grading scale or freshness scale on the total yeast and mold. So like basically abolishing the pass fail for total yeast and mold, but having a quality score.
Well, what Matthew, our fearless leader, boy, that boy looked good today.
Dude, on his note, by the way, I told him this right before we started. Because I you know me, I write things as I will remember
as it
them.
Crosses your brain, yeah.
So on his, I was like, he had a kiss ass beginning, and then a good middle in it. Like,
yeah, he was up there,
yeah. But you gotta play the game.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
Day.
No, Matthew said it best. And he gave so many options. Because that's I feel like that's kind of what you have to do with OMMA.
Yeah.
Like you can't just demand. He did a great job, but 10,000 CFU is our current count. But the test types that are allowed is where the tomfoolery, the fuckery come in at, right?
Right.
If you can do 10,000 is the limit, but you're allowed to use, I don't know, the most bullshit science ever, what's the point?
No,
because there's no point.
We're just playing.
We
games.
need to be if we are stuck as a state, if we are stuck to testing for TYM, if we are stuck to 10,000 CFU being the limit, it needs to be plated, period. There are PCR methods that are more accurate, but it's there's more steps in the process, and we have to be able to make people follow them rules. I think that's the longest shot we have. I say we ditch the PCR method completely for TYM, and it's either plate for TYM or get rid of TYM.
Well, dude, it's one of those things where, as I understand it, which is probably wrong, but as I understand
right.
it, you have to follow the manufacturer's guidelines.
Absolutely.
So I would even take it a step further. If we're going to keep it, whack us all over the head like you did with Metric and make us all have to buy from the same vendor.
Right.
Because different manufacturers are going to have different guidelines. Some of them are going to be really squared away. Some of them are going to be a little looser. But we both know there's been places that, quote unquote, will follow those guidelines in a very, very vague sense. And then, surprisingly, nobody ever fails for nothing.
It's almost like you can see, and if you're a dispensary, just think about this. Let me get real ASMR with you. Think about this very carefully. Go look at your COAs. Do you notice a pattern with all of your growers? Do you see a couple of labs that it just seems like the growers cling to? That's the fucking problem, bro.
Flower specifically. If you're buying from, which people are gonna hate this, but if you're buying from one vendor that's a processor and a grower, and their flower comes from one lab, and then their concentrates and everything else comes from another lab, red flag.
If you notice that said processor that has flower has the same COAs for their processed goods and their flour, but it just seems like they can't get a flour that hits the numbers that your customers always want. Red flag. That lab is probably pretty damn decent.
Well, and another thing that was brought up a ton was metric transparency.
Yeah. That's one of my next topics. Man.
It seems like that's a no-brainer.
You would think, right?
You're like, because from where I sit, we've had to deal with a lot of these mountains to climb over the years, right? And I don't know anything, dude. I'm sitting here from just a common sense, like, if you can follow metric, like if you're failing here, but then you get reserves transferred here, and then they pass it, and then they pass, and then, oh my God, that place shuts down. Then you go back somewhere else, and then you fail. You clearly never address the problem.
Here's the thing, man. Metric is not bad.
No,
it's actually, and this is coming from somebody who didn't understand it at first, and threw out some unfair hate. Being enlightened as I have been, metric's actually a pretty good system. If it's not all, it's all about the state and what they require metric to do. But also, metric is a big company. They've been around for a long time. If you look, they give you a whole lot of information. You can follow. Now, it depends on what you have access to see with it or not, but it tells a pretty complete story if you read carefully and pay attention. You can get a lot of information out of it, a whole lot. You can see trends, you can see patterns. So think about that. If we have the ability to see trends and patterns by just using metric, imagine the kind of trends and patterns let's say the regulatory body must be able to see.
right.
And that because, they have access to every bit of the data that was ever into this metric seed-to-cell tracking system. It blows my mind. Most states, the metric data is public domain. I don't think any states, I don't think you can metric or FOIA request how much weed Shane Davis has bought with his patient card. That's a little different.
Right.
But you can metric, or you can FOIA request metric data for how many total, tags were wasted this year? How many total tags were transferred to a processor? How many total adjustments had to be made to, wet trim harvest weight? Blah, 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 blah. All of that information, especially the testing data.
Right. It was how many primaries failed and reserves passed.
All of the testing data. All the data that doesn't have patient information. Nobody gives a shit how many. Nobody wants to know how much weed Joe Blow and his sister Sally are buying. None of that. We don't want that kind of data. We want the data pertaining to the businesses and the labs. That's the data that people want. That's currently not available. OMMA does not release that data. It is not made available for the public use. They are the only people that have access to that data. What the point that got brought up today was a lot is that it needs to be moved from private to public domain, so that way we could FOIA request it, or if OMMA was smart and they would save themselves a lot of trouble, they would quarterly make a lot of the data that seems to be popular just readily available in a report for us.
I've seen some people do some pretty cool shit on Excel.
Oh yeah, bud.
And you can have a forever running set of numbers with formulas put into it, and you can look for certain anomalies. If you just know what to look for, you could figure out a lot of this on your own. Like you don't really need, because we're not trying to be up here being the 1-2 golden snitches, but
who ain't? I am. No, I'm kidding.
It's at the end of the day,
I just want a fair playing field, dude.
Right.
And I think most people do.
And I think if you're left in this industry after all this chaos we've been through, like you've been waiting for this fairness to come. It's always been, eventually all the bad actors will be weeded out, and then we'll actually be able to make stuff happen. And
we're still waiting.
It's coming, and it shouldn't be honor based or word based.
No.
Like I know people are screaming for this or that. But forget that. Like,
I'm not going to say that would immediately solve the problem, but people talk today about policing, self-policing the industry. That kind of data is very much needed for the right information to be had, for the right conversations from the right people to get started, so that some kind of self-policing can happen.
Right.
Because if that data is available, the industry associations, the people that are ballsy enough, they can actually start getting some conversations started. Hey, you ever think it's weird that this lab and this lab and this lab seem to only fail at about 3%? Like 3% of the flower that walks in the door fails, but all the other labs are failing at 18 to 24%. What? Ding, 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 ding. That's the kind of data we're looking for.
And that could be as simple as a...
Yep, exactly.
You're there. I'm telling you, and you know what, dude? Maybe we're wrong, right?
Maybe, but probably not.
Probably not. We know what the trends that we've been seeing over and over and over again. And it was cool though today. Like like I said, there was 3 labs that did speak out, and I feel like sometimes we don't all get along, but yeah. I feel like today everybody was pretty much on the same page. Like there was nothing
made me happy
that I was appalled by. It was all like, yeah, man, that sounds like a great day.
Real quick, I want to give a special shout out. I feel like not enough people have been talking about this, and I don't know where we're at on this. I remember OKCTL and a few other labs were invited, just like we were on the lab standardization committee.
Yeah.
We were also asked to take part in the process validation committee, and there were a whole set of rules that they started to lay out like how the process validation would work in this state,
right? But
it hasn't ever been acted on or finished, and that's probably for good reason for right now, because we're not quite there. I don't think OMMA has got to be able to, they have to be able to have a quality lab they can trust,
right,
or they have to be able to have their own quality lab to be able to, confirm that the labs are doing the right thing before we can process validate, because it's going to be up to the labs to apply and be able to be a process validation laboratory. And right now, I don't think there's enough of those labs that are consistent enough to be able to do that. So I want to give a shout out to Apothecary, Kelsey Palmer. She was there today. And by the way, in the description of this video, we're going to link the public comment video. We're probably going to link the YouTube version because it's the one from senate.ok.gov. It's a really bad media player. The media player's rough, man. Like, no matter which way you turn the screen, it's got a weird angle, and it's long and skinny, and it's got like the picture of the state capitol on the right side. It's terrible. YouTube, for whatever reason, the one that OMMA uploaded to YouTube is perfect. So we will share that link in the description of this video, or wherever the hell we can share stuff. I'm sure the producers know how they can get it on there, but they gonna get it on there some way. If you got, an hour to waste, go sit down and watch it. All this stuff that we're talking about, you can see it firsthand. It's great.
Well, and we're for sure going to do a recap episode when they actually do issue all those responses.
Yes, we are. But also, I wanted to give a shout out to Kelsey and all the team at Apothecary. I love those guys, man. Kelsey, Brent, man, there's a few more that I can't even think of right now.
She brought up a good point on rejected flower or product.
Rejected transfer, would like to see window of 30 to 90 days to be able to edit or act on it. I wasn't quite following what she was saying with it.
Alluding to in the case of a rejected transfer that you have to waste that. And she was like, not like most cases aren't a situation where you would have to reject it.
Yeah.
Usually it's like a clerical mistake or whatever. Which if that, it's been so long since we've been on that side of the fence.
But I remember.
I'm like, if that's the case, that's crazy. Like that's like everything is, manually input to start. So, I mean, dude, people make mistakes.
Well, and there's like this thing, if, after you've made the transfer, after like 24 hours, it's even like you can't edit it. Even if it hadn't been accepted, there's nothing you can do with it. It's, effectively done.
Right.
I don't know I'm not a metric guru. I'm not even good at I don't have a login.
You say you're not a metric user.
Yeah, I'm not even a metric user. But
hey, hold it down for 1 second.
Okay, you got to poop? I got to pee. Are you pausing to go pee?
No, you're continuing.
Okay.
Hang in there, Bernie. I'll be back.
I'm just going to I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to stare at the camera while Shane's gone. Crickets. So shout out to Kelsey and the team at Apothecary, because they brought up the process validation, and I remember all the way back from, right after I was at first with the lab, because I had reached out to Brent, and Brent, if you're seeing this, you know what I'm talking about. But I reached out to Brent to try to get their business at the lab, and he'd even mentioned to me in text, like, hey, do you guys support process validation? And I didn't really fully know what it was then. I'd heard the word, but I remember I'm rolling along with the owner, and I was like, hey, do we support process validation? And he's like, who's asking? And I was like, Apothecary. And he goes, well, it's kind of a hard topic. I wouldn't know if I would want to see it here in this state right now, because we have so much work that needs to be done. But yeah, the overall idea of process validation, I love. And I always thought that was so cool. They've been talking about that forever, because that is a phenomenal process. It's basically, and if you don't know what it is and you don't want to look it up, you just want to trust old Brandon Fountain here. First of all, that's real brave. But how that works is basically, right now, if you make a product, every batch you have to have a full compliance test. As soon as it's ready to go to the dispensary, final form package, it needs a test for whatever that batch size is. With process validation, you basically are paying to have your processes validated. So it's like saying, I buy this X ingredient, X ingredient, X ingredient every time from the same manufacturer. And you get your suppliers and every manufacturer for every ingredient or part of your product, you get verified. It gets testing when you make a new product for the first time ever. First time you invent the SKU, you test it fully. But then you don't have to do full compliance tests every single time, as long as you didn't deviate from the process that you've normally done. Because each time you're saying, I'm going to buy the same hardware for my cart. I'm going to use the same brand of terpenes. I'm going to use the same supplier of oil, and maybe that oil has a full compliance test that comes with it or whatever. But that is basically, oh, fuck, my camera shot, right? You know what I mean? I'm over here trying to, have a combo with the burnouts here. But yeah, no, that is basically how process validation works. So you do pay a fee up front to get all your processes validated. If you're the company that makes the same product time and time again, you get all your SKUs validated the first time, and then you just don't need full compliance tests on every batch. You need, they do basically like spot checks. You're going to get a couple tests. You're going to get a potency and a micro and a blah, 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 whatever here and there throughout the batch or throughout the batches, instead of in lieu of getting a full compliance test every single time. So that is a great thing. It is something that has to be managed and tracked very well, and you have to be able to trust the labs that are validating your processes. Not only do you need to be able to trust them, but OMMA needs to be able to trust them. And I think, if I'm guessing, that is probably our biggest holdup right now with process validation. I think OMMA really wants to get their state lab in, because they really need to be able to hold labs accountable. And I'm hoping and praying. Let's all cross our fingers. Everybody bow your heads. Let's say a prayer that OMMA's QA lab, their self-ran state QA lab, will help ensure the validity of testing in this state, right? Because Lord heavens knows we need it. So yeah, shout out to Apothecary, Kelsey, Brent. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. You've always been great for this industry, and everything you do, you guys put on badass events. You guys put out badass product from badass stores, and you make badass suggestions at public comments. So good on you.
Shout out Turfloat.
Hey.
Also wanted to shout out State Capitol's restrooms. They were great.
Were they good?
They're so nice.
They had a nice urinal. I didn't make a poo, but I did make a tinkle, and it was good.
It was very ambient in
very
there.
ambient.
I was pretty excited. I went in and I was in a rush.
Yeah.
And I was not disappointed.
Man, we are unfortunately getting real close to the end here. We need to wrap this up, but I tell you what I'd like to do. I'd really like to tiggity touch, pause, on a little bit more of this next week, and I would like to let's keep an eyes-gy on the public comments and the questions as they're getting answered. Be a hell of an episode to go through every single public comment, because there wasn't that many people there today, but I assure you, I haven't even looked, but I guarantee there's a whole lot of comments online, and they answer them like as they go type situation. Like there's some that they have to get back to. No, I don't think it's just like we log in one day and they're magically all answered. I think they kind of trickle in. We should keep an eye on it and start looking for answers and write down some of our favorites and bring back and talk to the burnouts about it.
Well, and a lot of them were kind of saying the same shit.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'd be too wild.
Yeah. But and by the way, those are the ones you got to watch out for at like time to, for them to go get the final, approval from legislation on. I would be willing to bet we're going to see the ones that have the most comments, the ones that gets asked about the most. Those will probably be the ones we see the most change with.
I would imagine.
Especially the ones that, the industry actually did come together and unify on, like y'all can't have kangaroo courts and, we needs the data.
Real quick. So I wanted to read some out of context quotes that I wrote down from this public hearing today.
I love it.
And then that's all I got.
I love it.
So I just, as these things were said, I was like, but I if you want to figure out who said it, you're gonna have to watch, right?
Yeah.
But probably my favorite quote of the day was, "Your dogs ate my chickens." I thought that was a great one. It was a great analogy.
Thank you. Shit out of me. I think I peed.
This one I thought was awesome. We're state 50 in education.
Yeah.
But we could be first in honesty. I thought that was very wholesome. No applause on that one. And almost lastly, second to last, this one it made me think about it because I really didn't think about it until it was said, but where are the board members?
That was my fave.
yeah, because none of them were there. And lastly, there's more aspergillus in this room than in the flour we submit for testing.
Of course, that was your favorite.
Oh, I loved it. I was like, yo, boy. But that's all I got, big dog.
We are 50 in education, but we could be first in honesty.
I love it. Like I was like, that's nice. You practice.
I'm writing these down.
Yeah. I already wrote them down. I'll send them to you.
I love it.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. But yeah, man, it was a good hearing. I went into it with not very high expectations, and by the time it was over, I was like, all right, dude, we did it. Good job, Oklahoma. We did it. We didn't look like fools this time.
What was the aspergillus one?
There's more aspergillus in this room than in the flour we submit for testing. Yeah. I was like, facts.
That's facts too.
Straight up,
Big
like
ass facts.
We are gonna need a whole episode if you're gonna get me started on that. But
do you have anything else, Shane?
no, that's all I've got.
We need a quick joke or a quick trivia.
If you want a trivia it up, big dog.
All right, are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Well, guess what? You always get ready, but I stay ready, so I don't ever have to get ready. Because
What's the trivia?
the trivia.
You still
is-
looking?
No, it's right here, before my very eyes. Nice try. Right after I say yes, I'm at least 21 years old. Well, I picked a poop one. Shit. All right. I'll admit I wasn't ready, but now I am. Are you ready?
Hit me with it.
This is going to be some strain specific. God dang it. Yes, I'm 21. I picked wrong again.
Did you Google weed trivia?
No, that would be super stupid. How stupid was that? What a dumb question. Would I Google weed trivia? No. I Googled cannabis trivia, you piece of shit.
Right. Weed's offensive. Multa.
Man, hold on. I literally have a page up. Here we go. All right. What percentage of teenagers try marijuana at least once before graduating from high school? Less than 10%? About 25%. Less than 50%? Almost 75%? And over 90%?
I'm going to say the 25.
Nobody gives a shit, Shane, because there's no bad effects, all right? Kids, don't go smoking weed all the time, okay? But if you're going to take a little puffski, I don't encourage that. But it's not the end of the world, guys. I don't know how to find the answers on this.
The first time I ever smoked weed was in basketball practice. And the only reason that it happened was because I had talked about how much it had happened. And so this kid, I guess that was about it, he was like, hey, meet me in the bathroom. And we were like both on the basketball team. I was like, for what? And he's like, we're about to smoke. I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's game time. And it was like a one-hitter, right?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it because I was embarrassed. But he gives me this thing. I've never seen one, never held one in my hand, never smoked pot, right? So yeah. I'm like trying to light it and not knowing what I'm doing. I never even smoked a cigarette at this point. Yeah. And I was like lighting it on the wrong side. And he had to hey, buddy, you're doing it the wrong way. I was like, obviously. And flipped it around, hit it. And it was terrible.
Just checking to see if you guys knew.
Dude, I was
y'all passed.
So nervous. I remember being like, I hate this is the worst thing ever. I'll never do this again.
So, you want to hear my first experience? I don't remember if this is the very first time I smoked, because something tells me I snuck some and tried it myself alone. But this is the first time I ever tried it with people.
Right.
So I went to Union, remember, in basically most of my elementary, middle school, and then high school. But in Union, they break up the high school in 3 different schools or 2 different schools. And so I went to the intermediate high, which is 9th and 10th. So 9th grade, wrong group of friends, you know what I mean? The people that, I wasn't too sure. They weren't like my everyday best friends, but there was people I've been real cool with, right?
Right.
And our first hour was biology. And at the intermediate high, it's out on like 91st and Garnett. Well, about a quarter mile from the school, there's like a big ass, I can't think of what they call it, but it's like a big dip. And it's like a ravine where if it rains, it's like a floodwater area. It's usually no water in it, but it's just like a grassy like
levee.
Ditch. Yeah. It's like a big grassy ditch, and if rainwater were to collect, that's where it would go so it doesn't flood. But they have a bridge right underneath, Garnett, and underneath that bridge, there's like those big concrete circles that you can walk through, people graffiti in. So they like, hey, we're gonna walk down here so we don't get in trouble. So we walked like a fucking quarter mile, my fat ass, right? I'm waddled like a quarter mile down the street.
Sweating.
And we get down up underneath there, and they bust out this pipe, right? And this pipe, I'll never forget, dude. And I see them today still. They're really rare, and most people don't smoke out of them because it's just not the best way to smoke. But
those metal ones?
So it's like bronze, and it's like bowl, but then tube, and then the carb is another skinnier tube that runs parallel kind of with the mouthpiece, but that stops a little bit shorter. And you hold the pipe, and the brass tube has got a rubber boot on the end as like the mouthpiece, and then you work the carb with this finger on the tinier tube.
Right.
And so
Everything's
watched
made for right-handed people.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I watched everybody hit it. So I was like, okay, I got it right. And so I asked, I was like, I've only ever smoked, joints, guys. I was lying.
Right.
But I was like, I've only ever smoked joints. How do you work this thing? What's this other hole? And they're like, that's the carb, yeah. You just put your finger over it, you get your draw, and then when you're ready to take it straight in the lungs, you just move your finger. I was like, hell yeah. Well, dude, I got ripped. Bud, it felt like it took me an hour to walk to class. It took forever. Get back there, biology's first hour.
You did this before school started?
Oh, yeah, bud.
Hell no.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. Yeah. And I was nervous. That little voice that lives inside of you told me, are you sure? Before school?
Right.
But here's the thing, man. I was always a talker. And I was a talker then. And what I wasn't going to do was bitch out in that moment. I was going to talk my way through it. So I did. Went to class. Definitely felt like I got some weird looks from our teacher. But for the most part, made it through.
No eye contact.
We were doing a science experiment where we had our little burners. It was like not a Bunsen burner, but it was like a little electric hot plate. But it had this fine wire mesh that set on the burner first, right?
Right.
To then put our whatever on. I assume maybe to protect the coil. I don't know.
You burnt the shit out of yourself, didn't you?
Yes, bro. I'm doing something. I reach over for something, and I set my arm right on that mesh right after the burner had been turned off. And I put a perfect waffle burn right like that. Ah! And then, of course, first aid, go to the nurse, get it, treated and everything. But, dude, that was a reminder, because it was there for like the better part of a week and a half.
Drugs
of just
are bad.
A perfectly waffle. It looked like the top of those little Struce waffle cookies.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right there, about 2 inches in diameter all the way across. Told my mom, and she's all like, you idiot. Of course, didn't even think to say, I did it because I was stoned, Mom.
Hell no.
Oh, bud.
My mom would have killed me.
The most painful reminder of not to smoke weed. I don't think I ever smoked weed. It wasn't my thing. I don't think I ever smoked weed before, or even directly after school. Ever after that.
No, weed found me at the right time. Weed found me at the. I'm happy I didn't ruin it earlier on. But
no, there were several kids at my school that were stoners and like smoked all the time. And I just remember, like, not only did the teachers not like those kids, like they were just, they were kind of dumb, bro. And dude, I still maintain to this day, like, I don't have anything against weed at all. Well, obviously, I'm in the industry, but I do believe that I don't think kids should be smoking weed. And here's the thing. If you are a patient, if you're Jackie Warrior, right? You're Angel, right? If you're that situation, right? This girl has, had crippling seizures, right? That's different, okay? But I'm talking about a regular every day, going to school, going home, doing your homework student. Bro, I get kids are going to experiment, but I don't think kids need to be smoking weed like that, bro. I really believe, because I remember how I'm just like watching some of these people like, bruh, would you spit it out? You know what I mean?
Well, people play into the
I'm sure.
stereotype a
Absolutely.
lot too.
Absolutely. No, I'm sure that's part of it. 'Cause, that was their thing. They wanted to be cool.
Yeah. Right.
They weren't very cool, though.
No,
Straight up,
you
bro.
stuck
They were
out.
stupid. Yeah.
But that's all I got,
all I
brother.
got.
I am Shane Davis.
And I am also Shane Davis. And this is The Controlled Burn.
Boom.